was like, this is a course right here. I was like, and then it's just a process of not getting excited, not getting any of the acquired emotions. Also not obsessing, being like, what is the next line? What's the next line? And I'm buzzing from the inside out. I'm radiating light from the inside out, and it comes out in all forms.
Today on Stories of Creativity, I'm delighted to be talking with Doc Smith. I met Doc Smith through his creative, innovative work in healing. He has helped me resolve some ongoing health issues I've been looking for solutions to for years. Doc Smith has a groundbreaking initiative called Healing is Free, which is also the title of his upcoming book. He teaches people how to heal themselves and others using various tools rooted in a Taoist understanding of health. Designed to reverse what Doc Smith calls his collapsing face theory of human de-evolution, many of his innovative ideas combine Tao Yin movement, meditation, and breathwork practices with elements of yoga and his own creative use of medicine balls. Doc Smith is a Qigong breathworker, Tuana bodyworker, a former medical platoon leader with 3 tours to Iraq, a former caterer, he's a musician, as you hear, a songwriter, and if that's not enough, he's also worked as a stand-up comedian, and he's working on a sci-fi novel. Doc, I've heard enough about your creativity to be really excited to have this chance to sit down with you and talk exclusively about it. Thank you so much for being here. I would love to hear the story of your creativity.
You're so welcome, and thank you for having me. It's great to be here with you, Joe. Well, my creativity. All the way out of the mouth here. Breathing in into my nose. So my response is that it's not my creativity. And everything we have is borrowed, that we're going through life with is all borrowed, and we don't own anything, and it's not my creativity. It's the pulse of nature. It's the heartbeat of life. And I mean, I'll give you an example here. Here's we got the guitar, might as well.
Please.
So, for example, maybe 10 years ago, I was in school receiving body work. And afterward, my friend who was giving me the body work in class, she said, I just got this image of your spirit animal. And she said, it's a whale. She said, wow. You're a whale. And I remember, first of all, I was feeling great because I had just received body work. And it was like right at the end of class. She tells me this, and I walk out into the beautiful open air, and I just hear, from our blowholes to our tails, let's get filled with the medicine of whales. From our blowholes to our tails, let's get filled with the medicine of whales. From our blowholes down to our tails, get filled with the medicine of whales. Dive down deep, sink so far, lost in the sound of the sonar.
I love it.
Get lost in the sound of the sonar. Get lost in the sound of the sonar. Have it and not need it, or we can need it and not have it. This thinking it's just a habit. If we really needed it, we would have it. If we really needed it, we'd 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 already have it. And everything we need, even love, will be provided. Everything we need, even love. We have decided everything we need, even love. From our blowhole to our tail, let's get filled with the medicine away. From our blowhole to our tail, let's get filled with the medicine of whales. From our blowhole to our tails, get filled with the medicine of whales. Dive down deep, sink so far, lost in the sound of the sonar.
Beautiful.
Really, thank you. That didn't all come out at once. The chorus first came, and I heard that like, from our blowholes to our tails, get filled with the medicine of whales. From our, and then I just like literally walking down the steps, down the sidewalk, like blowholes to our tails, with the beat of my feet hitting the earth, my movement on my body, feeling it, the rhythm of the same melody and all that, and hearing it. And I think maybe I wrote that down like immediately, like as soon as I got to my van. I was living in a van at the time. Guitar right there, immediately just started playing. And I think by the time I got to the van, I already had Dive Down Deep, Sink So Far, Lost in the Sound of the Sonar. And I was like, this is a chorus right here. I was like, and then it's just a process of not getting excited, not getting any of the acquired emotions, not getting overly excited, staying calm, or any of it. Also, not obsessing, being like, what is the next line? What's the next line? And trying to write it, trying to rhyme it. It's about meditating, and that's where all of it comes from. Is from, for me, losing any of the acquired emotions, so I can be in my original attributes. And I'm buzzing. I'm buzzing from the inside out. I'm radiating light from the inside out, and it comes out in all forms: sound, you know, movement, and um, I don't know if I smell that good, um, but yeah. So that it's like a getting out of the way process. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sitting there in my van. I'm like, writing stuff down and starting to get excited. That's when I lose it, and I stop hearing the the song that's already playing.
Such a great observation. That's such a great insight. Yeah. Do you find that it's really about being super present? Like you're saying, to clear those emotions out and remain neutral and just stay really present with the idea that came to you. What happens next when you kind of make your notes on that idea and you've got your emotions in check and you're not having any obsessive thoughts and you're continuing to be in the space you want to be in? What's the
What
next
happens next
that happens? Yeah.
is it it changes every time. Nothing ever happens the same. So sometimes, I mean, the being super present is how you termed it. Being super present. That's an interesting way to say it, because like if we're trying to be present, we're not present, right? Like when I'm trying to be present, I'm actually like, I'm not going to hear that song because like I'm trying. You know what I mean? So
True.
it's like to be super present is where you're not even trying to be present. You're actually just completely present without even trying. Like for me, there's definitely been times like you know, playing sports or games with friends, as a kid, being completely present and not caring about anything else other than, oh, go get the ball, let's run together. And um, there's, it gets harder and harder, like to maintain that super presence, that real presence.
Mhm.
Um, as we go through life, so what happens when we actually get into that is the question. What comes from that? I mean, we never know, because that's God's plan. That's the divine plan. So
Right.
maybe maybe this song is only a mantra of a chorus that just continues just like that, and then that there's no more words. And maybe if I'm trying to put a
Mm-hmm.
verse into it, and 3 verses plus a bridge, so that way it can go on the radio, like maybe that might not be the plan, like it.
Mm-hmm.
So who knows what could happen when we're present. And um in terms of creativity, I feel like that's where it's truly a matter of witnessing, right? It's like
Yeah.
witnessing,
Beautifully said. Right.
like what comes, like what do I see on this. I wouldn't say that I'm not an artist, or that I don't. What I would say is I don't draw. I,
Mm-hmm.
like I've never really gotten into drawing, or like doodling on the page or anything like that. But I had friends growing up that, like, they just have a. I'm more likely to be writing words. I'll write tons of words all over the place. Words going different directions, and circles of words, and a triangle of words, and a bunch of different stuff. But I had friends, growing up, that I look over at their desk while neither of us are paying attention in class, and they've drawn the most incredible Batman,
Mm-hmm.
detail, and um, but what was my point about that? What was my point about that?
You
That I
were
like to.
talking about witnessing and not knowing what's going to happen next and kind of getting out of the way, not forcing it, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Like right now, I'm trying to force it to remember exactly what my point was. I guess it couldn't have been that important, but but yeah, I mean, it's about witnessing. Exactly. I don't draw that. What I was gonna say, I don't really draw very often, but I think when I have a few times, it's because I saw something there that wasn't there, and I was like, oh, here I go. I'm gonna draw that thing that I see, right? And how do we generate that ourselves? Small self. You know what I mean? We have to,
Mhm.
you know, not separate ourselves from what we're sensing, our senses, and understand that the senses are the key. I think, like our five senses, because they bring us into the moment. You want to get super present.
Yeah, that's a good
Use all
point.
five of your senses.
That's a great point. Yes.
Use all five of your senses. And if we want to develop our sixth sense, and if we want to connect with spirit, and this is what the big inversion of so-called science and so-called religion is that they religious people will say, "Oh, that's evil to use your senses, your physical body senses, and be in touch with the earth. That's evil because we're supposed to be attuned to God." And
I see. Yeah.
the sciency people, they separate the physical, the material, so-called, from spirit and God. So they both do the opposite, but they're both inverted and
Right.
wrong, because the reality is that there is no separation of spirit, physical, emotional, mental, God, the tree, me, all of it. It's all together one thing. And when we start sensing, using our senses, actually smelling the flowers when we're out walking, like smelling, using the eyes to see the tree, and get forgetting these thoughts and these ideas of, I got to write a verse for that song.
Yeah.
Let me go out and look at this flower, and look at that, and
Beautiful.
smell it, and touch it, and let it touch my face, and let it touch my eye, and
That's so
taste it,
great.
lick the flower, and chew on it, right? Smell, touch, taste. What are the other ones? See
See, hear.
and hear. You can't really
Yeah.
listen to a flower, but what you sure can. You can look at it, and you can listen. You can put the ear there and listen to that flower, and also bathe in the sounds of where the flower is, right? And then these five senses bring us into that super presence of reality. We're out of our head,
Mm.
and these thoughts, these ideas of whatever, our identity we think we are. And then that's when we start to pulsate from the inside. Just like everything else in
Wow.
nature, just like everything else, the tree,
Right.
everything else in nature is pulsating from the inside out, like a bird flapping its wings, just at different speeds, right? So
Wow.
when we start doing that, we're in nature. We are nature. We're not separated now with our mind, and we're actually witnessing natural creation from the inside. And it's who knows what happens in that moment, but we might hear some. You're going to hear. For me, what will happen is typically, for example, I'll have something like, for example, a month or so ago, we were on the phone together and we were talking about facing the sun. Remember?
Right. Yes.
And then just for that came out of experience, out of reality, right? That came out of reality.
Yes.
That was the moment, right? That was not something that I like planned to say to you. It just came out. And then over the next few days, I kept hearing facing the sun, facing the sun. And it started to come into a melody. And then I think I sent you a little clip of just a little melody that came out, or a little, it's going to be like a mantra song or whatever, you know?
Right.
But, but yeah, taking something that happens in my reality, and it's like a message from the universe or God, whatever. It's like these words, these words, you heard them. And now you're hearing them again with this vibration as it's coming from the inside out. It's pulsating out. And
It
yeah,
also became the name of a movement practice that you've initiated as well, right?
say again.
Facing the Sun also became the name of a movement practice, weekly practice that you've initiated, a group session, which I think is
Exactly.
really cool.
Yeah, thanks. Fridays, I like alliteration, so Friday facing the sun.
Yeah.
Um, Nobody's been showing up to the Thursday throwdown. I don't know why. I'm kidding. It was a joke. I don't have a
Oh,
Thursday throwdown.
I was just trying to process what is it that
I don't have
I'm
a
supposed to
Thursday
know that I don't
throwdown.
know. Okay.
That would be a funny name for a qigong group.
Yeah, it would.
Thursday throwdown. Come to my online breathwork class. It's
Right.
the Thursday throwdown. Okay. Yeah. So facing the sun on Friday mornings, 8:05 a.m. Pacific time.
So I just thought that was beautiful what you were saying about using our five senses and particularly using them in nature to get in touch with who we are and without needing to cast about for inspiration or try to get inspired or try to create something, that experience of being in nature and getting in touch with who we are and what we sense when we're outside smelling the flowers and touching the trees and being in the presence of nature. I thought that was so powerful. And it reminded me of several things. One is that a whole lot of art has been created about nature, right? Lots and lots and lots of poetry and music has been written about nature.
Mm-hmm.
So it obviously is something that works historically for artists of all kinds to get inspired by. Another thing is that is one of the best ways, I think, to get in touch with the spiritual part of us and with the spiritual outside of us and with
Mm-hmm.
God or the universe or however people want to think about it. And the last thing that occurred to me was that what you're describing is like the wonderment of being a child. And I think that getting into that place we all were once in as children, just full of awe. We don't understand the world. We're curious. We want to find out how the plant tastes. We want to know how everything feels and smells. I think that's a perfect place to be when you're exploring your creativity. So I love that you brought that up and made it so concrete and easy, you know, with
Good.
that prescription for creativity.
Good. Bless it. It came creatively, so that's how it comes. All the answers are there. when we ask ourselves and
Right.
understand that this is
Yes.
it. There's no one else to ask. We are it. And we have that connection and we have a rapport with nature. And we don't necessarily have to be outside either, too. Even when we're right wherever we are, in bed, wherever we are, we can, feel, we can certainly touch, right? Ourselves, our own, this body, we can feel it. And that's a massively important sense that we have is to
Yeah.
touch. And
Right.
we can use our breath to it, it sort of increases our sense of touch, really using our breath, purging breath, because it helps us to relax, so that way we can, you know better feel ourselves and all that. And then we can smell wherever we are. And that's why I don't ever recommend any products, but
Mm-hmm.
I like to go when I take walks. I have some right inside. I could get it right now and show you. I have just this morning I pulled off a bunch of lavender. That was,
Oh.
fresh,
Mm-hmm.
nice lavender. I pulled it off and I've got a little handful of it. And so I keep that around, and I'll take some and just smell it.
Beautiful. Yeah, that smells
And
amazing.
when I'm sitting inside, and
Mm-hmm.
rosemary, lavender, any of that stuff, sage, it's everywhere. Almost any place in the country is going to have that stuff around, most
Mm-hmm.
likely. Um, so pick that stuff up when you're on a walk, and have it around the house, so that way we don't feel so separated from nature. Also,
Mm-hmm.
we could have, I've got some beautiful jade stones,
Mm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
that are just nice to hold and to marvel at the
I
jade.
agree.
Like,
I
that's
agree.
that's an example of like how nature is perfectly original, different every time, and
Right.
just amazing pattern that can never be created on purpose. Um, Essential oils. I love
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Nick's essential oil wizardry is like the one product that I will say, folks, go check that out. It's awesome. Um, but yeah, I'll do some of that when I'm in the house, to feel a little bit more present, because the more in boxes we are, our homes are boxes, so we think in boxes and we
Mm-hmm.
live in boxes, right? Have you ever listened to Alan Watts?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
He said that. He said, we think in boxes and we live in these boxes.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think definitely being in the house, is going to make it more likely that we're going to be not present, right? But
It's a great point.
we can mitigate that. And um, you know doing some body work on each other if we have a partner, if we have a family house,
Mm-hmm.
that's a great way to become super present. You know what I mean? um, yeah, smelling, tasting, but then we don't want to, you know be sitting in the house eating ice cream tasting, but tasting a lemon, like tasting water with a little lemon in it, like letting it really pour down and feeling it go down. You know, um, these are ways that we can become more super present without having to be outside necessarily. So, and then I'll
Thank
hear
you.
things when
Yeah.
I'm inside the house. You know what I mean? I'll hear songs, and I'll write a lot of, comedy or whatever. And so it's not necessarily that we have to be outside. We're always in nature. We are always in perfect rapport with our environment, really, if we attune our intention and our understanding. And if we do that, you know and there's a chemical spill over here, we're going to sense it and we're going to go away. You know what I mean? We're going to get out of that environment into a good environment, and we're going to be good.
Because we'll be in touch with ourselves or our nature. Is that what
Our
you
senses.
mean? Right.
Exactly, our
Right.
senses. Yeah. I mean,
Right.
and look at the animals, right? All of the animals, they have super senses, right? Like,
Right.
they don't just
Right.
hear; they hear 10 billion times better than we think we do. But we actually probably hear like that too if we would attune ourselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
They see, like, a cat is going to see you from forever away, right? So their senses are incredible. And now they don't, the interesting thing is that you can say that they don't create art, but maybe they do. Maybe that's all they create.
That's all they create. I'm going to think about that. That's beautiful. They certainly create joy. And why wouldn't that be a form of art?
You mean joy for us?
Yeah. And for themselves, I think.
Yeah, I think that they are great examples in all ways, pretty much. As are humans.
Nice. I like that.
There's four great things in the universe. The Tao is the first great thing. The heavens, the earth, and humanity is also great. The heavens follow the Tao, the earth follows the heavens, and humanity follows earth.
Okay, interesting. I have
It's
so many
chapter
things I want to learn from you. This is fascinating.
that's chapter 4 of the Tao Te Ching. That's one of the most amazing chapters of anything. I wish I had it handy. I would read the whole thing. It's so short, it's only like a few lines, but yeah, humanity is also great. Check out chapter 4 of the Tao Te Ching.
I appreciate that perspective. It seems like we're always putting ourselves in a separate category from the rest of nature, whether it's, for a demeaning reason or an elevated reason or something like it's nice to just understand we're just another part of this earth and everything, all the life on it.
And I like what is he writes that humanity is also great, not humans or me or you or whatever, but
Mm-hmm.
humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, he writes that the definition of great is that it's far reaching. Far reaching means returning. And something else in there that's really cool is like it's far reaching and returning. It's like bigger than things that come and pass. Like the tree will pass, but the earth is far reaching and it returns,
Mm,
coming back. The
right,
heavens and the Tao and
right.
humanity. We're gonna keep we're the pulsation
Beautiful.
of life, right? So
So can I ask you, has there ever been a time when you had a harder time accessing your creativity, or was it always something that I think you once said to me, you pointed at something and it's like a fire hose. It just you have a really easy, natural, continuous flow of creativity as far as I understand. Now, was that ever different in the past for you? Or has it
well,
always been that way?
I feel like you know, growing up, that's exactly how it was. Like I could literally write, just write. I
Hmm.
remember one time when I was like maybe 18 or 17 or 18, like I maybe just graduated high school, and my stepmom was a teacher, and she had this assignment that she was doing for her kids, and she was like, this seems like an impossible assignment to give to anybody. she's like she's like you try this, and she's like, tell me if you can do this in an hour class. And like 5 minutes later I hand her back a paper, and
Okay.
she's like, and it was spontaneous. The assignment was spontaneously write a story that begins and then the very ending, it like ties it up perfectly together.
Uh-huh.
Like whatever happens in the beginning, like it comes right back at the end. And the assignment was just like, just begin writing and spontaneously write something like that. And I literally did it, just literally without stopping. Just and I didn't even know what I was writing except for each word at a time.
Interesting.
Like I'm reading
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
And then
Oh, yeah. Cool.
as I'm finishing this word, the next word's coming. Boom, there's the next word. Okay, there's the next word. All the way out. And then
Awesome.
as the last paragraph is coming, it starts to dawn on me what's happening. And I'm like, oh my God, it's gonna be this at the end. And I'm like, boom, 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 boom. There you go. And So it was like that for me my whole life. And then I
Sweet.
think when I got into the army, you know, I had to get creative in a box, right?
I bet.
And um, that was a creative idea for me to go think that I needed to be in the army. Um, so I did that for a while, 7 years active duty, and then through that, maybe that's why I ended up doing. Everything has its blessing.
Yeah.
Something is like I look back on, I'm like, I wish I never did that. Well, there's a blessing from it because I think I probably would have never done stand up comedy
Mm.
potentially because when I did stand up comedy for the first time, it was my brother was like I think he was trying to help me to find something. You know what I mean? Because I was
Yeah.
really depressed and just stressed from I had just gotten done with a 15-month tour to Iraq, right? And actually, I did 15 months, and then I came back, and I was only back for 4 months, and then I went back to Iraq for 6 months.
And that
So
was
in a
during wartime.
yeah, that was from 2006 to 2008 into 2009. No, wait, 2007 to 2009. And then I went back again in 2011 for a full year. And but in between the second and third time, my brother was like, I guess he knew I was stressed and wanted to help me, you know. Plus, he just saw something in the newspaper advertising there's a stand up comedy open mic. Come and try stand up comedy.
Hmm.
So he like challenged me to do it. He's like, come on, let's go do this. Let's both, go up and do stand up comedy. And he ended up chickening out, and I did it. I was like,
Okay.
oh my God, this is so fun. And it gave me like, I was just so pumped to have something to write for. I was like, I got 4 minutes, like I'm going to be up there for 4 minutes. So I'm going to just, it gave me something to write for. And I loved it. And I still love it. So, but I did take basically like a 12-year break from stand up comedy, um, almost 12 years. Basically, we haven't gotten into my whole bio, but after I got out of the army, finally, I started up a catering company, which was a very creative thing. I had a great name, great brand, all that. It was called Caveman Cafeteria. Our
Nice.
tagline was "Where the Hunters Gather,"
Cool.
and yeah, so that was a creative way to lose a bunch of money over a few years and to destroy the ego, which was a great crash that really needed to happen for me because I
Mm-hmm.
was like super, into my plans and ideas of who I thought I was and what I was going to do in the world and blah blah blah, and not actually just witnessing, just being here, witnessing and being of service would be nice too. That's actually the best things that I do. So, um,
Nice.
yeah. So, long story short, I took a break from stand up comedy and just have started getting back into it over the last couple months. Not going up on stage yet, but just with a guy who booked me for shows like 12 years ago. We reconnected, and I think I'm gonna be getting booked again here in the next few months. But I'm just
Awesome.
kind of stuff together again and doing more writing, but it's really fun.
That's awesome. I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you want to tell me about the medicine ball work and how you came up with those creative ideas? Um,
That is not why I picked this up. I literally did it because I was feeling some tightness in basically my maybe my adductors, my psoas on this leg. So it's already feeling better now just by doing this. This is 30 pounds. That's just weighing my knee down right now and just giving me a nice stretch. If I just go like this, oh yeah, I just got a nice pop.
this
Things
is
going
what
back
I
into
think is
place.
so brilliant. Sorry, Doc.
No,
Go on.
please, thanks. I think so too. I can't believe it that this came to me. I mean, gravity. It's right there for all of us. It's the thing we're fighting against, and now we're recruiting it.
Right.
And it, I mean, it's already taken over. This is already 30, 40, 50 years ago that people have known in the so-called science and in the sports rehab world and all this. it's resistance stretching. Have you heard of that, resistance stretching?
I have. Would you explain what that is for the viewers?
Super simple concept that if you take a muscle and you contract the muscle, and then from a contracted state, you open it, you lengthen the muscle, the
Mm-hmm.
fibers are closer together, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
they're pulled apart from that close position. They actually get an even greater lengthening overall. And so people have known this for a while, that like if I take my arm like this with say 20% of my strength, and then somebody else comes and they go like this and they open it up while I'm continuing 20% of my strength, then when I'm done with that stretching,
Oh,
it's feels way better. I'm like, oh wow, that's really good. So if you that's why you can have somebody stretch you. You know, any town you're in probably these
okay.
days, you look up stretching, and there'll be people who offer, yeah, I'll stretch you out, and all they're going to do is take you through each limb, basically the range of motion, and you go into each. So say with my arm, I'll go like this, and then say the other person's right here, and then I'll push against them like this, and then I'll stretch more this way.
Right. So if I understand right, what you're saying is that you can get a deeper stretch if you contract the muscle first, work the muscle first, and then stretch it.
Exactly.
You can get a deeper stretch and more flexibility in addition to getting stronger when you work your muscles that way.
Strengthening and stretching
Right.
goes together totally. Exactly. And it goes, the third leg of that stool is relaxing.
Right.
100%, not 99%, where we still hold on a little tiny bit, but
Mm.
100% relaxation is the ground zero. Then strengthen. So I'm relaxed. You see my knee right here, right?
Yeah.
And then
Well,
so
I
I'm
see the
relaxed.
medicine ball on it. Yeah.
Okay, so it's on top of my knee. So ground zero, I get to ground zero with a purging breath. So into my nose silently, and then out of the mouth. And the next breath in. Now I lift. So I'm using my muscles of my knee, of all around my knee and my leg in here, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel it.
Mm-hmm.
All the tendons and the ligaments of the knee are being worked in a very interesting new way, really. Plus, I
Right.
can move the ball around here and increase the challenge while I'm doing this. And then when I'm ready, relax and stretch now. Now I'm stretching it even more than I could have before. And I just got a nice
Right.
pop. I think what actually popped there was my um I think what popped just now was maybe like my fibular head.
Okay.
The fibular head, the top of my fibula where it attaches to the knee with through a tendon. Um
Just got a release there.
yeah, just got a nice release there. Or that ligament maybe. But yeah, the head of the femur bone, or the fibula bone of the lower leg, just relaxed and released back into place from stretching it after contracting it.
This is amazing because these are the kinds of things most people, we wouldn't have any idea that we had tension there, right? But somewhere along the line, we're going to have, hip pain or neck pain or back pain or headaches or something that's related to this tension that we hold all up and down our bodies in different places, right? And so
Right.
what you're really doing is teaching people how to how to heal all of those things, get rid of all that tension. If I understand right, don't let me put words in your mouth. Um, but in that way, it's like this holistic, whole body practice that can completely take the tension out of your body, strengthen your body, and then get rid of the pain. Is that right?
Exactly, because all these things, we think in terms of correspondences, right? So we're not in the world of cause and effect, or diagnoses, or etiology, or teleology. Even though all those things can be interesting, um, it's a matter of correspondences. We
Okay.
We think, okay, this corresponds to this. This corresponds to this. When the 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 head posture is down like this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
there's a bunch of things that correspond with that.
You're
And
making me
when
very
our
conscious
shoulder
of my
goes
posture now.
forward like this, what's that?
Nothing, carry on.
Yeah.
Continue,
So
please. I'm sorry.
every single aspect of what we call the physical body does not lie. All of it reflects everything else that corresponds to whatever the presentation is. So if the
Right.
physical body shows big, deep purple circles under the eyes, we know what that corresponds to. It's kidney issues and whatever else. But so what is this practice? What is healing is free? What is
Yeah.
what you're trying to get to as you're describing it is that it's the true definition of holistic. So holistic in the popular culture is I'm going to buy everything. I'm going to buy everything.
Right.
I'm going to try all of it. You can sell me anything. I'll buy anything you tell me. No offense, guys, but that's the definition of holistic. Now, there are certain things that are out there that people need at certain times. However, 95%, 90% of our suffering is not that. It's how we separate this idea. We have what's called the Cartesian split in our culture, right? You, you know about the Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am,"
Mm-hmm.
and so that's the whole inversion. It separates out this life of the mind as if it like defines us, and it's our identity is our thoughts. That's not it.
Right.
This is just nonsense most of the time that's happening up here.
Agreed.
And yeah, and so I don't know how much time we have. I did
Yeah.
have to. I'm just gonna check real quick because we can do a follow up. I have to
Sure.
actually run here in a couple minutes, but we can do a follow up, and do if you want, because this has been a great convo, and I know I haven't let you
Sounds
ask
great.
nearly all the questions that you probably have. So
That's okay. This was a great introduction, I think, to you and what you do, and I'd love to do a follow-up, Doc. I'd take you
good.
up on that in a heartbeat. Before you go, can you tell everybody, please, where to find you and your work?
Sure. Go to healingisfree.com and go to healingisfree.com. And when you get on that website, it's actually a Google form. So you submit the form at the very bottom, click submit after you fill out a few questions that I ask you. Just tell me a bit about yourself, what I need to know, and nothing too personal other than give me an email address or ideally a phone number. I'll text you and we'll set up a phone call. And if what I was just talking about interests you and you would like to join this project, my goal is to write a book. I'm gonna have the first volume of the book out by the end of this year, and September actually. I was gonna tell you that.
Very exciting. Wow.
There's the goal for the first volume. So
Can't wait to
if you'd
read
like
it.
one of the stories in that potentially, then get a hold of me ASAP. And either way, you can be in a future volume. And the idea is it'll come out each year and just have more
Oh,
case studies of
cool.
the people that I'm working with. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I just want to add to all these. There's a bunch of different diagnoses that people I've worked with that when the book is out, it'll be like, wow, these are almost all of our most common symptoms. That
Mm-hmm.
foot massage, belly rub, you know, Wuji meditations, different things that we can do without having to have any products.
I love that. And I
So
love how you've applied your creativity to come up with these innovative ways for people to truly heal themselves for free. I think the timing couldn't be better. I wish everybody knew what you were doing and could
well, thanks
access
for
this work. So thank you for bringing it
thank
to
you
the
for
world.
your help, my friend, and I'm so glad to be connected to you and excited to be part of this great project. That please keep me posted on everything you're doing with this project. I'm very proud of you, what you're doing. This is super cool.
Thank
And I
you.
love your background, by the way. I don't know if that's a real background or what that.
Thank you. No, that's a photo I have up behind
Okay.
me. So
I was like,
yeah.
wow, you got a really cool house.
Yeah, I'd love to live there. Yeah.
It's so bright out here I can hardly see the screen, but I see your beautiful smile and it's good to see my friend, and
Thank you,
let's do it
Doc.
again soon,
You too.
okay?
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
All right, my friend.
Take care.
Bye-bye,
Bye.
Joe.